You're listening to the Chad Hasty Show on demand. Good for you. Now download the KFYO app and listen live weekday afternoons, 5 to 7 p.m. Central.
Broadcasting from the great state of Texas, this is the Chad Hasty Show. News and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty.
Good evening, Lubbock, Amarillo, Abilene, Wichita Falls, Midland, Odessa, Dallas, Fort Worth, down in Houston, over in El Paso, and anywhere else inside or outside the great state of Texas, wherever you may be listening on this Friday. Yes, that's right. It's Friday. It's finally here. September 27th. Oh my goodness, we're almost to the we basically are at the end of the month. Let's be honest. We're there at this point. We get back next week, and it won't be long before we're in October. It won't be long before early voting begins in Texas. It is coming at you quickly. And yes, we will be talking about the 2024 election, some new polling data out, some news out that we'll get into today. And want to know just your thoughts on any of the, as we do every Friday, really any of the big issues. It's an open line Friday. Anything you want to talk about, give us a call, give us a text. Let us know your thoughts on any of the issues of the day. Do want to hear from you on a variety of issues. And as we do every Friday, it'll be kind of mixed in. We'll talk a little politics, a little sports, a little lighthearted news that may be out there as well. Just a little bit of everything as we get you ready for your weekend. I know many of you, maybe you've already skipped out. You're already out of the workplace. You're on your way home. Maybe you've already gotten home. Maybe you're stuck in traffic somewhere. We do appreciate you tuning in. Maybe you're still stuck in the office. It happens. We appreciate you listening in while you're doing whatever it is that you may do. Hopefully you have some big plans for the weekend. Maybe looking forward to either going to a fair or going to some festival out there. Oktoberfest festivals are starting to pop up as well. So all kinds of stuff going on that you can get involved with during the weekends and get your mind off of things if you need to do that. We've got some of the stories that we'll get to today. Kamala Harris, she cares about the border. She's all about solving the border issues, according to a new ad from the Harris campaign. We'll talk about that. Harris also making a trip to the border. We'll get into that little stunt that she pulled today. We've also got a little bit of Ted Cruz 2024 news that we'll be getting into. And an interesting story out of Gallup where more Americans now identify as Republicans. And we'll talk about why that's such a big deal. It has not happened in a while. So we've got all of that to get into. We've also got some other national news to talk about. We've got a few statewide stories to get into as well. Yes, there was the Cowboys game last night. We can even talk about that. For the Dallas Cowboy fans, for the maybe upset Cowboy fans that are out there, yeah, they won, but it wasn't very pretty. We can get into that as well today on the program. And then later on, we've got a few different stories. The best American food dishes. The best American food dishes as ranked by some organization out there. And then the most optimistic states in America. We'll get into those stories as the program continues. Oh, and then California They are set to formally apologize for their role in slavery. Now, for those of you who maybe don't remember history, California was a free state. So I'm not sure exactly what they're apologizing for. Maybe they're apologizing for not having slaves. I mean, that seems very odd and a very weird thing to apologize for. But who knows what California is really up to at this point. So we'll get into that as the show continues as well. Want to hear from you on the text line? You can text in at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. And wait a minute. We're starting off the show now, and this text came in. I'm not sure where this came from. Chad, tell the truth. Do you really put beans in your chili, and do you really hate tortillas? These are lies. No, I do not put beans in the chili, and I love tortillas. So I don't know where that's coming from. That just to the texture out there, perplexing. The first voice you hear from when you dial in today, Nick. Nick, how you doing?
I'm doing okay today.
Yeah,
it's
just okay.
It's just okay. You know, it's a Friday though.
Yeah.
So you can't be too bad on a Friday. That's always my motto. I don't always follow it, but today, I would say I'm not doing too bad.
That's good.
In fact, tomorrow I have a wedding that I'm going to, and I also have a wedding later this year. Now I wanted to get your thoughts on this. I have to rent a tuxedo. I don't have a tuxedo, so I have to rent something.
Yeah, most people don't have tuxedos.
Right.
Yeah.
Just lying around. Yeah. Some people do.
Yeah, I do.
But
yeah.
Okay, well,
I don't know.
All right. But I've been to one wedding before where I had to pay $240 something to rent this very special tuxedo that they wanted. They specifically said everybody within the wedding party, which I was honored to be a part of, had to wear this specific thing. I am not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of... Now, if you have like a list and you're like, please adhere to things on this list, please, here's places you can go. They're very cheap. You don't have to spend a lot of money if you do need to. If you have things that fit this list, great. The problem was the last time I wasn't told I needed to spend almost $250 just basically to attend the wedding. It was very close friends of ours.
Now wait a minute, hang on. I'm gonna pause you. I'm gonna ask you this.
Sure.
Were you part of the wedding party? Were you a best man?
No.
Were you a groomsman?
No.
Because you said you were part of the wedding party.
Okay, all right. So I was informally a part of the wedding party.
I don't even know what that means. Were you the ring bearer?
I was the dog watcher.
No, you weren't.
The dog watcher.
No.
I walked the dog down the aisle, and the dog and I sat down at the very front.
Was the dog wearing a tuxedo?
The dog yes, he was wearing a tuxedo.
Oh my gosh.
And I had a nice I had a very nice outfit on.
Yeah.
It was $250 that I had to rent and then return like a couple days later.
To walk a dog.
To walk a dog down the aisle. So I'm not really a big fan of paying a lot of money. I think $250 is that's a good chunk of money.
I think if you are, and again, I can't remember how much our tuxes cost or any of that, but everyone kind of had the same type of tux. The groomsmen,
they want you to look.
Yeah, you had a normal tux.
Affiliated with each other.
I don't know how much it costs. I think if you accept, let me throw this out there: if you accept a invitation to be part of the wedding party, you better just be ready. And this is mainly for the ladies out there, because they're the ones that have to shell out money to be a bridesmaid, and they have no say really in what they have to wear. If you're going to accept a position in the party, you better get ready to shell out some money.
So this kind of goes hand in hand with that. All they did, very close friends of ours, they just asked me, "Hey, do you want to be a part of the wedding? We're friends. We've known each other. We'd love to have you involved. It'd be very fun. We would consider it an honor if you joined us for the wedding." That's all they said, and I was like, "Yeah, why not? We're friends. I would love to. I think that'd be a great time." And then a couple weeks later, they hit me with the price tag, and it was an aside. So they're
Yeah.
like, oh, by the way,
Yeah.
here's the link.
Sure.
And then at the very, very bottom, it's $243 by the
Yeah.
way. And that was it. So it was a great wedding, but I didn't like that I had to spend all that. I understand you spent a little money, but still.
Yeah.
The good news is this one tomorrow, I don't believe I have to. I was not given a dress code. I'm also not in the wedding, which is I think very relaxing.
Sure.
You know, you sit back, you get to be an observer.
Yeah.
You don't have to be mingling with all the. You don't
Yeah,
have to sit
you're
at the
just
front.
going to a wedding
There's no
tomorrow.
pressure.
Yeah.
I'm just going to a wedding. Yeah. So
You
I
have a lot of friends who have weddings during college football season, by the way.
this is the third one in the next 3 months that I'm,
Yeah.
or one of three in the next 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not many football fans I have.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Sounds like it,
Yeah.
because if I were friends with any, no, I'm sorry, I'm not.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to pay
You want me to
300
walk your dog?
I'm
I'm
not
not
going to pay
doing that.
$240 to walk your dog down the aisle. Like, that's not going to happen. If your dog is trained enough to wear a tux,
Yeah.
your dog can walk itself down the aisle,
It was
and I don't need to watch it.
it was like a little Shih Tzu, little tiny.
Oh, that's
a-
not even a dog.
Chihuahua
That's like a
ch-
squirrel.
It was a very small, skittish, very skinny dog. I walked the leash. The leash was like a shoestring,
Oh my gosh.
and I kind of just walked down.
They need a child to do that. They didn't need you.
No, they didn't. The fun part though is after the ceremony, I got to sit alone in a room
Oh, no.
and just watch the dog
Oh,
because nobody was available or
Nick,
interested.
Nick.
Um,
You know what you do? You get a kennel, throw
Yeah.
the dog in the
It
kennel.
wasn't a kennel. It
Yeah.
wasn't a kennel, and
And just
I
leave the dog
sat and I
there.
watched.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a great wedding.
It sounds like
lot
it.
of fun.
It sounds like it. Yeah. Fortunately, I don't have to do any of that. This week we're going to go to the fair.
Nice.
This weekend we're going to hit up the fair, and we're going to get there early so that way we get in. We get in. You get in before 10 a.m. It's free parking, all that kind of good stuff. So we're going to do that, and then you got some college football on TV, and then at some point I have to mow. I've got to mow. It's been 2 weeks since I've mowed,
Yeah.
and the grass is going crazy. And so it's just, it was looking good at the beginning of the week or looking fair at the beginning of the week. Now it just seems like I don't care.
Yeah.
And I feel judged. I've had people who have driven by, and I don't know if they're looking, but
Yeah.
I feel as though they might be.
It rained this week too, so I'm sure that
rained.
helped a little.
It rained, and we've got water sprinklers that go
Yeah.
off every other day. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got to I got to get that situation under control at some point, either Saturday or Sunday. Got to mow.
I have to mow as well. It's been a lot longer, a lot longer than 2 weeks for me.
Yeah.
So
and you're probably being judged.
I was just gonna say the looks of judgment
Yeah.
from passersby, insurmountable.
Yeah, I'm
I
sure.
get
I'm
them
sure your neighbor's been like, maybe his
any
mower
day.
died. Maybe his mower
My
died again.
electric battery powered mower.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Maybe the mower died again. We'll have to do that. Okay, so Michael Berry continues to spread the false rumors, or the just not even a rumor, just the falsehood, the outright lie that I put beans in chili, which is not true at all. That's just false, and that somehow I'm not a fan of flour tortillas, which I can tell you absolutely 100% false. On that, but he continues to do it. He continues to do it. Let's see, another texture. I will admit it. Beans in chili is great. Add cornbread. Of course, the kids will suffer later. That from Robert. No beans in chili. It does not belong. Beans do not belong in chili. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. 806-680-2790. Your running topic today. Today is one of those nice little fake national days out there that we always enjoy. World Tourism Day. World Tourism Day. Where would you like to go? Your favorite vacation that you've ever taken, and where would you like to go? If money were no object, where in the world would you like to travel to on World Tourism Day? Where in the world would you like to travel to? Maybe for some of you, it's just going over to Florida. Maybe you want to go to Florida. I don't know. Maybe you want to go to Alaska. Maybe you want to go to Canada. Maybe you want to go to Egypt. Wherever. want to know where you would just love to go if money were no object. On World Tourism Day, you can text in at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. When we come back, your phone calls, your text messages, and more.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune in on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock, News Talk 940 in Amarillo, News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene, and in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton.
Coming up on the Monday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, just over a month out from Election Day, my friends, we'll take a look at all of the latest numbers and get a deep dive going for how it's looking not just for President Trump, but also control of the Senate, control of the House, absolutely critical. And speaking of the Senate, Marsha Blackburn, the great senator from Tennessee, will be with us to talk about the border and more on Clay and Buck.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, Monday morning at 11.
All right, back on the Chad Hasty Show. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Let's see, a new Gallup deal coming out today. Very interesting here. This is, Frank Luntz had tweeted this out. And if you follow me on Twitter at Chad Hasty Radio, I had retweeted it. For the first time in decades, more Americans now identify as Republican than Democrat. 48% of Americans identify as Republicans, while 45% identify as Democrat, according to a new Gallup survey. And the report on this is 2024 election environment favorable for the GOP. And of course, this doesn't take into account any of the electoral college maps or anything like that. That's just overall, where are you at? The measure party identification and leaning, 48% lean Republican or are Republican. The party that is better able to handle most important problems, the Republican Party gets 46% support. The Democrat Party, 41%. 22%, when there's 22% of people in the U.S. are quote unquote satisfied. That also means that it's good for Republicans at this point, since they're the party not in the White House. The party that's better able to keep Americans prosperous, well, they say the Republican Party, 50% to the Democrat Party, 44%. When it comes to the party favorable ratings, about tied, 43 to 42%, Republicans over the Democrats. Party better able to keep America safe from international threats, Republican Party at 54%, the Democrat Party at 40%. When it comes to preference for government activity, 55% wants the government to do less. Meanwhile, 41% wants the government to do more. So a little bit of good news there for Republicans. Doesn't mean really anything for the election, but it does show that it's a favorable environment for Republicans overall as a base. Let's see some texters weighing in on where they would like to go. If money were no option on World Tourism Day, where would they like to go? The first one is out of this world. They want to leave the world. They don't even care about World Tourism Day. They want to go on a space flight and just take off. Another texter says Scandinavia. Another text This is from Bill in North Carolina. First, prayer for everyone in the path of this hurricane, and I'd love to go to Jerusalem. Let's see. Kendra in Lubbock on how many people now identify as Republican versus Democrat. Maybe it's because people are waking up and seeing how freaking nuts the Democrats have become. And from Kendra in Lubbock. Dear Chad, you are a failure. Oh, Ben Runkle has weighed in today. Dear Chad, you're a failure. You have failed as a mentor, a boss, and a friend when it comes to Sweater Boy. You're now part of the problem. You allowed him to live a life where he openly talks about being a dog watcher at a wedding. Now, this was way before I knew Nick. I cannot be blamed for Nick. By the way, I have a photograph now of Nick walking the dog down the aisle, which, as I say that, sounds very disturbing in many ways. This is, Nick, how long ago was the dog walking? 2 years ago? Okay, so that was a while back. It was a while back. I cannot be blamed for that. I will say, in the photo, Nick just has a look of disgust on his face when he's looking down at the dog. And everyone in the picture, they're all looking at the dog. Every one of them.
The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays 5 to 7 p.m. Sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790.
I'm the threat that's already inside the house. I can't be scared away or negotiated with. You can't call the cops on me. You can't even see me. I'm the threat of family fire, and as long as your guns aren't stored securely, I'll be there. Protect your family. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
What is dedication?
The thing that drives me every day as a dad is Dariana. We call him Day for short. Every day he's hungry for something, whether it's attention, affection, knowledge. And there's this huge responsibility in making sure that when he's no longer under my wing, that he's a good person. I want him to be able to sit back one day and go, we worked together, we did a good job.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
The news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO. Don't you forget about Chad at Chad Hasty Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and on your radio. Now back to the Chad Hasty Show.
All right, back on the Chad Hasty Show. Thank you very much for tuning in. An Open Line Friday asking you, where in the world would you like to go? World Tourism Day. If money were no option, if you could just toss the cash aside, doesn't matter to you, where would you go? Where in the world would you like to go? You can text in at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. I've had a few people already weighing in, wanting to go to space. Got a few European vacations that have come in. Scandinavia, another texture says they'd like to go to Greece. Maybe Greece, maybe in Israel. Would like to go back to Hawaii. That from Kendra, weighing in on the text line. Let's see. Another texture. If money were no option, I'd like to go to Ukraine to check out and report back what happened to our money. You can get in on the text line 806-680-2790. Texture weighing in with their chili. Oh yeah, we put beans, onions, canned tomatoes, chopped jalapenos in our chili. okay, maybe it's a chili stew, but it's really good. You can text in 806-680-2790, and you can, of course, get in on any of the topics that we've been getting into today. It's an open line Friday, so anything you want to talk about, feel free to get into. This is out of Fox News, coming out earlier today. Tens of thousands of illegal immigrants. This was really a shocking report. But tens of thousands of illegal immigrants with sexual assault, murder convictions are now roaming the streets of the United States. Tens of thousands of illegal immigrants with sex offenses and homicide convictions are loose on the streets, according to ICE. The agency provided data to Representative Tony Gonzalez out of Texas about the national data for illegal immigrants with criminal charges or convictions. The data, as of July of 2024, is broken down by those in detention and those who are not in detention, known as the non-detained docket. The non-detained docket includes illegal immigrants who have final orders of removal or are going through the removal proceedings but are not detained by ICE in custody. There are currently more than 7 million people on that docket. But remember, they're not detained. The data says that among those not in detention, 425,431 are convicted criminals. 222,141 have pending criminal charges against them. Those include 62,231 convicted of assault, 14,301 convicted of burglary, 56,533 with drug convictions, 13,099 convicted of homicide. Again, 13,099 convicted of a homicide. They're not in detention. An additional 2,521 have kidnapping convictions, and 15,811 have sexual assault convictions. There are an additional 1,845 with pending homicide charges, 42,915 with assault charges that are pending, and 3,266 with burglary charges, and 4,250 with assault charges. As of July 21st, 2024, there were 662,566 non-citizens with criminal histories on ICE's national docket. 13,099 criminally convicted murderers, Gonzalez said in a statement. I mean, this needs to be something that is put out there far and wide about the state of our nation and where we're at and the complete failure by this administration to do anything about this and to let the streets get as dangerous as they are now. I mean, just imagine going through and just saying that these were U.S. citizens. I mean, that would be that would be just that would be awful. But the fact that these people are not even supposed to be here, they're not in detention. There's a very good chance we actually have no idea where most of these people are. Scare the hell out of everybody. But, of course, Kamala Harris, she wants everybody to believe that all of a sudden she cares about the border. So she's released an ad today talking about how she's going to take care of the border issue. She's going to solve the border crisis. And then Harris today visiting the border. Kamala Harris visiting Douglas, Arizona today. She went to the U.S.-Mexico border, the first time she has been to the border since a visit to El Paso back in 2021. Harris has faced frequent attacks from a Republican opponent, Donald Trump, and the Border Patrol union, who argue that she's weak on border security. Going after years of not just ignoring the problem, but helping create it, Vice President Kamala Harris is finally heading to the border. Says National Border Patrol Council in a statement. This is nothing more than for her to check a box. In what it does in reality, it's a slap in the face toward the men and women who put their lives on the line every day. And they're right. This is a stunt by Kamala Harris. It is a stunt that people should recognize as a major stunt. She doesn't care about the border. And the fact that she's releasing an ad today that she's going to be the one to solve it. She's the one who set it on fire, so she's going to be the one who puts it out. It's insane to think that. If she is elected and sworn into office, she's not going to care about the border. She's not going to want to do anything about the border. The next time you'll hear Kamala Harris talk about the border is when she's running for re-election. That's when she'll talk about it again, if she's elected. 806-680-2790. When we come back, your phone calls, your text, and more.
The Titan of Texas Talk Radio, Chad Hasty.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page at KFYO.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton.
Coming up on the Monday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, just over a month out from Election Day, my friends, we'll take a look at all of the latest numbers and get a deep dive going for how it's looking not just for President Trump, but also control of the Senate, control of the House, absolutely critical. And speaking of the Senate, Marsha Blackburn, the great senator from Tennessee, will be with us to talk about the border and more on Clay and Buck.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, Monday morning at 11.
All right, back on the Chad Hasty Show. A couple of text messages that we'll get to here in just a bit. One texter went to the fair this morning. Turkey legs were $14 to $18. I'm guessing $14 to $18. It's let me tell you, my wife, she actually brought I guess it was last Saturday. Brought a turkey leg home. It was fantastic. Very good turkey leg. I have to figure out before I go, and I don't know how to do this besides scoping out the place. I think she did the Lions Club turkey leg place, and it was pretty good. But I'm not sure who has the best turkey legs at the South Plains Fair. I got to figure that out by tomorrow, because I'll probably get one to go. Also says funnel cakes were $8 and the corn dog $5. Now remember, they're going to nonprofit, so that's fine. I'm good. It's all good. So nothing wrong with that. Another texture. I'm both sad and angry about the ICE report. This administration is responsible for why we have gangs from Venezuela running apartment buildings and terrorizing people in the United States. Absolutely. And let me tell you something. Most people have no idea about this Venezuelan gang. Most people have no idea about this Venezuelan gang, but they are spreading throughout Texas. And they've been in New York. They've been in Colorado. They've been in other states. It wouldn't surprise me if they're in just about in every state here. Probably, maybe not in Hawaii, maybe not in Alaska, but On the mainland, I think they're just about everywhere here. Wouldn't surprise me. Another texter says their ultimate vacation destination, a overwater bungalow in the Maldives. Very nice. Another texter says that they'd like to go to Fiji. Phil in Lubbock, Pinky's Barbecue, Lubbock jumbo turkey legs. They're delicious. Yeah, we're talking about the fair, though. We're talking about the fair. Nothing against Pinky's. We're talking about the fair. You know, which are the best one at the fair to get. 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. You can get in on any of the topics. We've got some, of course, a lot more national news to get into in the next hour. Trump earlier today meeting with Zelenskyy. It's out of the Washington Post. Trump meets with Zelenskyy, opening a new chapter in a, quote, fraught relationship. Friend met with him this morning. Trump said it was an honor to meet with Zelenskyy. Friday's gathering also illustrated both leaders' cautious approach to each other amid their differing views of the United States' role in the conflict. Before the meeting, Zelenskyy began. Trump said that he had a very good relationship with the Ukrainian president, that he also has a very good relationship with Vladimir Putin. Zelenskyy interjected, "I hope we have more good relations." Their meeting was the first since 2019, comes in the final stage of a U.S. presidential race that's put a spotlight on the partisan division over the war. After the meeting ended, Trump predicted a very fair and rather rapid deal to end the war if he wins in November, but did not offer specific details. Told it should stop, and the president wants it to stop. I'm sure President Putin wants it to stop. Zelenskyy, however, noted that Putin needs to be pressured and emphasized he's in our territory. I don't see Harris ending the conflict. I don't see that happening. I could see Trump ending it, but I can't see Harris ending it. I mean, Joe Biden's done nothing but hand over money and weapons. I haven't seen anybody else. I haven't seen Kamala Harris offer any new ideas. Haven't seen her offer up any new ideas at all when it comes to Ukraine and Russia. And you're probably not going to see her offer up any new ideas. I don't think she has any new ideas. She's flip-flopped on some ideas, but she hasn't really come out with anything new. She hasn't come out with anything that would, to me, inspire anybody. The only inspiration that Kamala Harris can offer people, and it's to the Democrats, is that she's not Donald Trump. I mean, that's really all it is that she's not Donald Trump, so go and vote for her just because of that. And please don't listen to her do an interview, because it's absolutely terrible to make you lose all hope for Kamala Harris, if you had any hope to begin with. 806-680-2790. The Senate Leadership Fund, a big dollar fundraising group affiliated with Senate Republican Mitch McConnell, is not helping two of McConnell's biggest critics in the Senate GOP conference, Senator Ted Cruz and Rick Scott out of Florida. This has prompted grumbling from conservatives who say McConnell has too much power over the Senate Republican fundraising, and point out that Cruz, in particular, a longtime McConnell critic, is being heavily outspent by his Democrat opponent, Colin Allred. Some Republican strategists also questioning whether the National Republican Senatorial Committee, which is run by Steve Daines, is a member of McConnell's leadership, is doing enough to protect incumbents like Cruz and Scott. This election cycle, the NRSC is focused on like a laser beam on knocking off vulnerable Democrats, including John Tester and Sherrod Brown. But now Democrats shifting money into Texas and Florida to put pressure on Cruz and Scott. Oh, it wouldn't be. It would not surprise me at all if Mitch McConnell wants to see Ted Cruz go. It would not surprise me at all. And if you look at some of the fundraising, Cruz, he's still bringing in money, but Allred has raised a lot. And Allred's been pouring on the commercials big time. Now, will any of that matter? At the end of the day, I still think Ted Cruz is in the lead. I still think Ted Cruz is going to win, but I think it's going to be much closer than what it should be in Texas. But also, you have a problem with Ted Cruz not getting out and campaigning as much as I believe he should. When we come back in the next hour, we'll find out Nick's final question of the week. We'll also get into some other national stories and whatever else you want to get into on an open line Friday. Text in 806-680-2790. Give us a call, 1-800-687-0790. We'll be right back.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of the Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media. Broadcasting from the great state of Texas, this is the Chad Hasty Show. News and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty.
All right, final hour of the week as we cruise into your weekend. Welcome back to the Chad HD Show. We've been asking you your, if money were no option, where in the world would you like to go? One texter in on the app chat, Will, weighing in on the app chat, saying to hunt, Alaska, Africa, and Canada. All right. Let's see. You can get in on the text line 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. You can give us a call, 1-800-687-0790. Elizabeth weighing in says, you ask, if money were no object, where would I go? I'm making the assumption that time travel is not possible. No. You can't time travel, but you don't have to pay money for this trip. Nick is paying. Nick is going to pay for it all, but you cannot time travel. She says the knee-jerk answer for the past 30 years has been Australia. I'd love to snorkel or scuba, the Great Barrier Reef, but honestly, these days, I'd rather stay in my beloved country of origin. There's so much beauty here that I haven't seen or experienced yet. And, that is it's a great point. There's beauty all over the world. I mean, there's some beautiful places all over the world, but there are a lot of places here at home, here in the United States, here in Texas, here in the U.S. that are just absolutely beautiful and that people have not seen, they haven't traveled to. Says I would like a massive road trip and a really nice motorhome to many of the major national parks and national monuments in the western United States: Big Bend, Grand Canyons, the Arches, Yellowstone, Grand Teton, Yosemite, Sequoia, Zion, Badlands, etc. Glacier Bay. Let's see, Glacier Bay is one place I really want to go. Would also like to go eastward to Niagara Falls, Hot Springs, Shenandoah, and the Everglades, Great Smoky Mountains, etc. Trip would probably take a couple of years. That'd be okay with me, given that money is no object. I can fly home from time to time. That's true. See, you need to go all in like Elizabeth here. You got to go all in and say, all right, if money's no, I'm not just going to do a week somewhere. I'm not going to take a week and go to Hawaii. I'm taking three months, and we're going to go hit up all these places. I like it. Thanks for asking. Enjoyed thinking about it. Have a great weekend. You too, Elizabeth. Thank you very much. Another texter weighed in on the app chat. Chad, did you watch the Cowboys game last night? Were you thoroughly disgusted? Now, see, listen, at least the Cowboys won. But it wasn't very pretty. And the Giants, they stink. The Giants they're terrible. So I'm watching the game last night, and I'm watching the Cowboys continue to struggle to really do anything that they should be doing. They're just absolutely struggling. And I look at it and I go, okay. I'm thinking at this point, and I went through the schedule for the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm thinking they may not win another game until November 28th. They may not win another game. I mean, they do. They do have to, they do play Pittsburgh next, and they're not great, but they have a really good defense. So I'm thinking there's a good chance that the Dallas Cowboys may not win another game until November 28th when they play the Giants again. So for us Cowboy fans, just hunker down. That's all I can say. It's not going to be the year. I don't think there's going to be anyone halfway through the season going, okay, I'm starting to believe. I'm starting to buy in. Starting to buy into it. Starting to get ready for the Cowboys. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen at all. Let's see. The Matt Crow has weighed in, Nick, after that discussion. He says he'd like to go to San Francisco and watch the Niners play the Cowboys. See, his 49ers are imploding as well. I mean, they've got injuries all over the place. So I don't know. Again, I still think I would take the Niners over the Cowboys in a matchup today. But why would you want to go to San Francisco? I mean, that's just, I don't know about that, Matt. I don't know about that. Let's see. Another text weighing in. If you do Niagara Falls, you got to get on the boat. It's worth every penny. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. It's now that time where we get to hear from Nick and get his final question of the week for the audience. Nick?
This week, as we've previously established, the State Fair of Texas.
Yes.
I believe the official start date was today.
Yes.
The 27th.
Yes.
So my question, what's your favorite thing to do at the fair? It could be eating the different food options.
At any fair or at the Great State Fair?
I am expanding this.
Okay.
I'm also not limiting it to your one absolute favorite thing. It's just what's something that you enjoy doing. Yeah. Is it a game, entertainment? Is it food? Is it a ride? Is there some show that happens or something? It's just some event.
Yeah. What do you look forward to? What do you look forward to at the fair?
Yeah.
I gotta say it's probably the crazy food.
The crazy food.
Yeah, and I think that really doesn't change from going from one fair to the other. Now I will say it's kind of neat to see some of the some of the different like animal shows that they may have. Like at the state fair, they'll have some of the dog races out there. They'll have some of the other, that's kind of cool. We always like going into the ag buildings over at the Lubbock Fair, South Plains Fair, and seeing some of the animals there. That's always a nice little thing to do in between getting a corn dog and maybe something else.
We when we went to our local fair up in Wisconsin, one of my favorite things was to play all of the rigged games. Like the partially deflated basketball shots,
Yeah.
or the you got.
Wait, you're saying those are rigged?
I am. I hate to break it
No.
to you. Yeah. Or that my favorite is the classic climb the rope. If you get to the top rung on the rope ladder, ladder, climb the ladder, and it's like a rope ladder. And if you can make it to like the top rung or step or whatever it is, you get a prize.
Yeah.
But it's 90% impossible because you basically have to walk on a tightrope all the way to the end.
Sure.
Those are. I just like sitting there. I like watching that. Maybe that's my thing. I like to people watch.
Oh, I love people watching.
In general.
Yeah.
But at the fair as well.
Yeah.
It's just fun seeing people get so upset trying out all these little things. Or like the throw the little ring on a bottle.
Yeah.
And try to get it on.
Yeah.
Those are fun to, again, just to watch people fail at doing that. Those are always very fun. Or the balloons. You pop a balloon. Just classic fair activities.
Fair activities.
Fair activities.
You know, the and I don't know if they still have them or not, but the South Plains Fair, they used to have a monkey that you would give the monkey like 25 cents or whatever, and he would shake your hand.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, I've seen a video of you give one like a quarter or something, and it runs to a vending machine.
Yeah.
And it brings you a soda.
Yeah, this one would like shake your hand or high five you or something.
That's
something,
pretty cool.
something like that. Yeah. So
motivational monkey. To,
yeah, exactly. Be like, all right, monkey, thank you.
I needed that. Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, I think you would give him like a little quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd do something. He would do something for you. Take off his little hat, or you know what? Thank you, sir.
That's worth it. I'd pay a quarter
I'd
for
give him
that.
a quarter for that.
Yeah.
You know, here you go, little monkey.
I pay a person a quarter to shake my hand.
I don't know about that. I don't think I'd walk up to a stranger and be like, "Here you go, here's a quarter. Shake your hand.
Give me a hug or something. Give me something here."
No, this is why diseases spread, because you're just walking up to random strangers and going, "Can I have a hug?
Yeah, I'll
Here's
pay you
a
for it."
quarter." Yeah, you're paying them to give you a hug.
Yeah.
I think you should just go to random people and give them a hug, Nick.
Yeah.
That could be what you're known for from here on out, is the stranger hugger.
Find me at the State Fair
Jail?
of Texas or the jail later. I'll be the one giving out free hugs. Hey, you know what? I may even pay you for it if you show up.
You could probably set up at the fair.
Yeah, I pay you to
and you just say free hugs, and you'll see how many people will give you a hug.
Give me a hug, win a quarter. That'll be my my booth at the State Fair.
Yeah, you just hit somebody in the head with their quarter.
Yeah. I think that'll be fun.
It would be something.
Yeah.
It would,
like
it would be
the
something.
dunk tank. I'll do a dunk tank. That'll be fun too.
Yeah, that's good. Let's see the old exhibit. You know, the old. You'd have some of the old exhibits. The Believe It or Not. You know, those type of deals. People love that. The fun houses. I always enjoyed when I was a little kid going to the state fair. Always enjoyed the little fun houses that we'd run into, or that my parents would go like, "Okay, run in there. We'll run after you." And of course, you know, like we'd all fall down, and I loved it as a kid. And now I'm thinking back, going, I'm pretty sure my parents got injured a few times in the fun house whenever the floor would shift, and it would be like, "Ha, that was fun." And you know, looking back at it, you would see all the parents walking out, clutching their knees, going, "Why did I pay for that?
Yeah.
Why did I do that?"
Going along with that, I love the what is that? It's like the section of it with the glass, or it's like plastic.
Yeah.
And it's like a maze. And
Yeah.
you don't know where the plastic is. I love doing that too, because then you walk in and there's always someone. It doesn't matter how old they are. They're so confidently. They're like, "Oh, all right, I see the path. I know." And then dunk, you smack right, their hat falls off.
It's good people watching again.
That's a great people watching thing. Yeah.
Lawrence weighing in. Chad, when my kids were little, winning at the BB machine gun shooting out the Red Star. Yeah. That was always a fun one. Sean in Abilene, my favorite thing at the fair was the ability to carry my firearm to protect my family. Not going this year. Yeah, and even the state Supreme Court for the great when weighing in on the State Fair of Texas, the state Supreme Court not ruling in favor of stopping the state fair. They haven't ruled officially yes or no. Just said that the state did not present an argument, and so they did not move forward with Kid Paxton's deal. 806-680-2790. I had someone yesterday who they were upset at some of the judges and the judicial side of things. And I've always said this. I've said it on the show before. I've said it on via social media. Never when it comes to the Second Amendment or any type of issue out there where the legislature could get involved. Don't trust a court to uphold anything. Don't trust a court to rule in favor for you to either create a new law or to make everything squeaky clean the way you want it to. The Texas legislature could go through and reduce the amount of areas that are deemed gun-free zones. The Texas legislature could do that if they wanted to, and they've had ample opportunity to do it. And I hope they get to it in this upcoming session. When we come back, your phone calls, your text messages, and much more here on the Chad Hasty Show.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune in on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock, News Talk 940 in Amarillo, News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene, and in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Play Travis and Buck Sexton.
Coming up on the Monday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, just over a month out from Election Day, my friends, we'll take a look at all of the latest numbers and get a deep dive going for how it's looking not just for President Trump, but also control of the Senate, control of the House, absolutely critical. And speaking of the Senate, Marsha Blackburn, the great senator from Tennessee, will be with us to talk about the border and more on Clay and Buck.
Play Travis and Buck Sexton, Monday morning at 11.
Back on the Chad HD Show. Thank you very much for tuning in today. New Fox News poll, Harris-Trump locked in tight race in the battleground state of Pennsylvania. Race tied among likely voters, although more Harris supporters are certain of their choice. Vice President Harris and former President Trump locked in a tight race in Pennsylvania, which is mostly unchanged since July. This despite the array of newsworthy events since then, including the Democrat National Convention, a presidential debate, and a second Trump assassination attempt. The new Fox News survey of Pennsylvania voters find Harris narrowly ahead of Trump by 2 percentage points among registered voters, while the race is tied at 49% each among likely voters. The July results, conducted shortly after Biden dropped out and endorsed Harris, but before she was conclusively the nominee, were deadlocked at 49% each. Even in March, when Biden was the presumed nominee, the contest was close to even. Since July, Harris has widened her lead among women by 9 percentage points, non-white voters by 8 percentage points, and voters under the age of 30 by 17 points. Her support has held steady among two other sources of strength, college grads and urban voters. 92% of Harris supporters are certain of their vote versus 86% of Trump supporters. Trump's best groups include men, whites without a college degree, independents, and rural voters. He has nearly doubled his lead among men and a small group of independents since July. Another reason the race is close is Trump has minimized Harris's edge among suburban voters, mostly due to the large gender gap among suburban voters. In 2016, Trump beat Hillary by less than a point in Pennsylvania, while Biden's victory was by just over a point in 2020. In the expanded ballot, which includes third-party candidates, Harris has a 2-point edge among registered voters, while Trump is 1 point among likely voters. All results for the Trump-Harris head-to-heads and expanded ballot are within the error margin. Quote, Pennsylvania is not breaking open and shouldn't be expected to, says Democrat pollster Chris Anderson, who conducts a Fox News surveys alongside Republican Darren Shaw. Both candidates have a little way to go and to consolidate their base, and whoever does a better job there could determine who wins the state. The number one issue for voters in the election, and most Pennsylvania voters, 71%, have a negative view of the economy, and that's the most important issue for most of the voters in Pennsylvania. I think it's the number one issue for most people is the economy. The border is going to be right up there, but I think the economy is one of the top issues, and you have the press pretending that everything is good with the economy and that everything is all right. Again, you go to the grocery store, I think you're probably singing a different tune. But the press and the Democrats would have you believe that the economy is going great, that things are looking up just in time for the election. Imagine, you can't believe how that's working out for the Democrats. But it's going to be close. And for Republicans in Pennsylvania, this is why Trump has spent a lot of time in Pennsylvania trying to make sure Republican voters get out and vote. And it's going to be like this in a handful of other states. So here's what here's the breakdown on some of these questions. Who do you trust to do a better job when it comes to making the country safe? 51% of Pennsylvania voters say Donald Trump. Bringing needed change. 50% say Kamala Harris. 47% say Trump. That makes no sense. Kamala Harris is literally the vice president. She would not bring any change whatsoever. 53% say Kamala Harris would help the middle class. 52% that say she would protect democracy better. And 51% said that she would fight for people like you. That's where she leads on the issues in Pennsylvania. When we come back, your phone calls, your text, and much more.
Call in to the Chad Hasty Show at 1-800-687-0790. The Chad Hasty Show, broadcasting on the Texas Town Square Media Network. Today's markets from the Texas Department of Ag.
Well, howdy, neighbors. Texas feeder catalogs reported prices $2 to $3 higher. Texas weekly direct reported prices $3 to $6 higher, and cattle futures were mixed. October live cattle futures down 35 cents, closed at $183.75. September feeder cattle futures up $1.67, closed at $247.07. October cotton futures were down, closed at $73.54. December wheat futures down a couple of pennies, closing at $5.77 a bushel. December corn up a nickel to close at $4.18. And November soybean futures up 25 cents, closed at $10.66 a bushel. October soybean meal futures up $19.50, closed at $343.70 per ton. September Class 3 milk futures unchanged at $23.30 a hundred. November crude oil futures up 88 cents, closed at $68.55 per barrel, and the Dow Jones up 137 points, closing at 42,313. And that's Market Roundup from the Texas Department of Agriculture. I'm your commissioner, Sid Miller. And remember, friends, Texas agriculture matters. Sold.
The news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO. Don't you forget about Chad at Chad Hasty Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and on your radio. Now back to the Chad Hasty Show.
All right, back on the Chad Hasty Show. An open line Friday, whatever you feel like talking about, you can text in at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. And like I said, anything that you want to get in on, feel free to text in, and we can get into some of those different topics out there. Let's see some other things that I wanted to get to as we get into the latter part of the program. Residents of Wyoming have the most positive outlook on life, according to a new survey. Hawaii didn't make the top 5. That's from CNBC. Hawaii may be the happiest state in America, but according to a recently conducted study, residents of Wyoming have the most positive outlook on life. To determine where states land on the scale of optimism and seeing the bowl half full instead of half empty, Icelandic Provisions, a yogurt brand, conducted a study with the support of Wakefield Research. The company polled 5,000 people in the U.S., including 100 participants from each state. The survey was also done in partnership with a behavioral scientist. The individual's optimism index score could range from 0 to 10 and was based on 10 different metrics, including how likely they were to persevere in challenging situations and how often they exercised or ate a healthy breakfast. Does that give you a positive outlook? Anyway, scores were averaged together, provide a score of that state's optimism. According to the press release, Wyoming snagged the number 1 spot as the most optimistic state in the U.S. with a 7.2. Residents of Wyoming seem to have a positive outlook on life. 82% wake up ready to own the day compared to 62% of Americans, the study found. A whopping 98% of residents are willing to preserve and try again after they have failed a project. Two categories that stood out as vital for higher levels of optimism: having a positive outlook on life and incorporating healthy habits into your daily life. Which I don't know if that makes you optimistic or not. I mean, it may be for a good thing, but I don't know if it's if that makes you optimistic. Nick's, there's only 100 people in Wyoming to begin with. I mean, it's fairly close. So here are the 5 most optimistic states in America. See if you agree or disagree with any of it. So Wyoming's number 1. Number 2, any idea who number 2 is, Nick? You have a guess on who number 2 is?
I'm going to say Washington.
No. Oh. No. California is number 2. They say because of the residents' healthy habits, and I would say that maybe they're just a little bit crazy, and maybe they're just optimistic. Like it's that liberal optimism where you just don't live in reality. Maybe that's it. And with as many homeless people as there are in California, and with the fecal matter maps that they have in California, I don't know if that's very healthy. Another state that I would not regard as one of the top states for health, but they came in number 3, New Jersey. Number 4 was Alabama, and I don't know if I would say that Alabama would be like a state that I would go and say, oh, overall they're healthy in Alabama. I mean, you got a lot of Southern cooking going on in Alabama, right? And then Maryland was number 5. I don't know if I buy it. Alabama, they're happy. They're optimistic in Alabama. That's good. New Jersey? I don't know. I don't know if I buy that they're overly optimistic in New Jersey. I think these are one of these One of these weird polls that they put out there. Story out saying the top 20 greatest dishes in America. The top 20 greatest dishes in America. And they put one of the first ones, barbecue. Boom, nailed it. That's all you need. I mean, yeah, that's it's pretty great. Barbecue is pretty great. Another top dish in America, fried okra. Nick kind of winced on that. You don't like fried okra? No. A Cobb salad. Nick is happy about the Cobb salad. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich. There's just some comfort food right there. Every now and then, you just need a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Fry bread, they say, is another big American dish. Red beans and rice. The simple hamburger is one of the top American dishes of all time. I say you got to throw some cheese on it now. No, not many people just happy with a hamburger. You need to have that cheese on there. A good slice of apple pie. Let's see, chili. This is when you get into the debate, beans or no beans, and the chili. They even write this. Many questions still surround chili, beans or no beans, beef or turkey, red chili peppers or green, oyster crackers or cornbread, during the Super Bowl or just any day. I think you got to go any day. I don't know of anyone who just does it for the Super Bowl. I'm sure there are people, but I don't know if it's just anyone who just has it for the Super Bowl. Clam chowder is another one that they throw out there. The Reuben sandwich. The chocolate chip cookie. Iconic in many ways. Gumbo. Love some good gumbo. And then they also put another dessert, banana pudding, and then spaghetti and meatballs. Spaghetti and meatballs, just the classic spaghetti and meatballs. You can't go wrong with spaghetti and meatballs. Absolutely. And then for your morning breakfast, a nice Eggs Benedict. They list as one of the top 20 meals that are truly American. 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Let's see. David on the app chat. What? Do they leave off bacon? Come on. Yeah, bacon in any form, I would say, is just a little bit. You got to throw some strips down of bacon. That's good. Let's see. Another texter weighing in here. Let's see. Nick is correct. Survey's loaded heavy to states with the lowest population. You got a lot of space in Wyoming. Maybe that's why they're so optimistic. You don't have to. You're not as. Let me tell you, when you're not piled up on top of each other. You look at New York; they're all piled up on top of each other in New York. In New York City, all piled up on top of each other. You get a little space, you get a little happier. I think. 806-680-2790. When we come back, we'll begin to wrap things up. One texter, Ronnie, says if money were no object, you'd like to go to Ireland or Scotland. If it's my money, maybe O'Donnell. We'll be right back.
I'm so hot for her. I'm so hot for her. I'm so hot for her. She's so cold. I'm so hot for her. I'm on fire for her.
The Titan of Texas Talk Radio, Chad Hasty.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page at KFYO.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Play Travis and Buck Sexton.
Coming up on the Monday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, just over a month out from Election Day, my friends, we'll take a look at all of the latest numbers and get a deep dive going for how it's looking not just for President Trump, but also control of the Senate, control of the House, absolutely critical. And speaking of the Senate, Marsha Blackburn, the great senator from Tennessee, will be with us to talk about the border and more on Clay and Buck.
Play Travis and Buck Sexton. Monday morning at 11.
I was just sent an email about a supposed trend that's going on that may be one of the dumbest things I have ever seen. And Nick, I'm going to send this to you as well. And I'm going to after you see it, after you just read the, let's see, like the first paragraph or so. And I want to know what you think about this. Because you're younger, you're a younger guy. Maybe this is what the younger people are doing these days. This is from the Washington Post, and they're calling it fridge-scaping. The headline is "Fridge-scaping is everywhere, but is it safe?" A new social media trend is taking refrigerator organization to a whole new level. Fridge-scaping, making the inside of your refrigerator worthy of a star spot on your Instagram or TikTok feed, has been all over social media lately. Yes, it includes the obligatory color-coordinated items stored in clear containers, condiments and beverages lined up in neat rows. Some people, though, are taking it a step further. Think vases of flowers, fresh fruit and decorative bowls, and even framed photos perched on the shelves. Nick, I want to bring you in here on this one because you're younger. And I'm just going to ask you a simple question, okay?
Yeah.
Why are y'all doing this?
All right. Well,
why are the younger people? Why?
First of all, I cannot speak for everyone, as I don't frequent the social media as my my youthful brethren do.
Yeah.
And I have actually a testament to that. I have never heard of this in my life.
Neither have I.
Until you just said.
I got an email about it going, do you think this is as stupid as I do?
Yeah. I don't see. I mean, if you're like an influencer and you do a lot of cooking on your account and your fridge is within frame, then sure, I understand. Okay, fine. You got to make it look nice because you're going to be opening it on camera. People are strangers all over the world are going to see it. But if you're just occasionally take a photo of yourself in front of your fridge that you've spent hours decorating for absolutely no reason, there's no reason for that.
I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I need to apologize in advance or not, but I'm going to say I don't like the people who do this.
Personally, you don't like them?
I would not like anyone who, if I open your refrigerator.
And there's greenery and
there's
frames.
There's plants. And I don't mean veggies that you're ready to eat.
Yeah.
I like this.
Like ivies.
Yes.
Yeah.
This person has ivy growing out of there. If you've got flowers and ivy and picture frames of people in your refrigerator, we cannot be friends.
Mm-mm. I struggle already with finding space in my refrigerator for food. I'm not going to sacrifice precious real estate for a photo of a couple of friends of mine that they'll nenever see.
Yeah, exactly.
No one's going to see it. And when you open it up, 4 times a day that you open the fridge?
And no, I'm not going to read the article because it's just stupid. I read a little bit of it during the break, and it's just stupid. And this is what people do. This is Texture. They have no life. My refrigerator is decorated with some beer. It's decorated with, I think, a couple of to-go boxes that might be in there. They're not decorative, but they're decorated with the to-go boxes. I think we have some sauces that are in the refrigerator and some nice tomatoes. We've got some tomatoes that are grapes. We've got beautiful grapes in the refrigerator, and then there's other stuff. You know what I want to blame for this? The see-through refrigerator that people are buying, and so they have to make the refrigerator look nice, and then someone bought it and went, well, now we have to decorate the refrigerator. And let me tell you something. I bet there is someone out there. I don't know if you've ever run into this before, but there are some people who like their homes to be, just immaculately clean all the time, which is fine. Okay, that's fine. That's great. But then they take it to a whole new level where it's so clean. We don't want you to be in that room ever. You know what I'm talking about, Nick? It's like there's a beautiful room, beautiful furniture, it's great, but you can't be in there because you'd get it dirty. And I guarantee you there is someone in on this trend with the refrigerator that is like, it's a see-through refrigerator, we can't get it too dirty, so we're just going to make it pretty inside and keep all the rest of the food in the garage refrigerator. That's what we're going to do. Mark in California, sounds like what you do to cover up for not having money for food, but you're spending money on crap to put in there. I don't know. If you're in on this, you just stop it. Stop. Get help. You can get help. I promise you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay healthy. Stay safe. God bless you all. Have a great weekend. We'll see you back here Monday at 5 p.m.
I'm coming home when I'm overdue. Expect me any day now, real soon. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. And everything is gonna be fine. I'm coming home, baby, now. Expect to see me now anytime. When you're in my arms, I'll be fine.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of the Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media.